To a Bureaucrat in Wisconsin, December 23, 2019, by Anna von Reitz. Here is an example of what you, too, can do to wake up the slumbering among us and put it to the members of the bar associations. Sent to DFI-UCC, December 23, 2019. Thank you. I am afraid that the only fraud being promoted is being promoted by the British Monarch and the Municipal United States Government, which has been condoning unconscionable contracting practices and using them against unsuspecting Americans. The root of this issue goes back to a specific presidential proclamation of Franklin Roosevelt 2039 issued on March 6, 1933. The British Territorial United States Government Corporation, styling itself as the Municipal Corporation of the District of Columbia, came ashore and secretively conscripted American doctors as uniformed officers, and forced them on pain of losing their territorial license to practice, to participate in this scheme, which has compelled millions of innocent and trusting American women to sign undisclosed commercial contracts misidentifying their babies as British Territorial United States citizens and also mischaracterizing themselves as informants. This has then allowed the rats behind this scheme to seize upon our given names and our assets and to sell the same to the Pope, whose minions operating the Municipality of Washington, D.C., then create all these accounts in our names and use these to hypothecate bogus debts against American public and private property assets. Your house and land and everything else you think you own has been seized as chattel backing their spending and you didn't even know it. Your friends in the legal department are under a similar gun as the doctors. They are forced to belong to a foreign labor union, a guild, based in London, and to have a bar card issued by the Queen to practice law in her British Territorial United States courts. Please tell them that I know exactly how this works and what their problem is and that they are going to have to understand mine. And yours, if you are a typical American. Your birth certificate is actually your death certificate. The American baby was, as a result of the undisclosed contracts being shoved off on our mothers, conveyed into British territorial jurisdiction. Your birthright estate as an American was unlawfully converted and instead of being marked down as a state national of Wisconsin, which is what should have happened, you were deliberately misidentified as a territorial United States citizen and British subject. This unlawful conveyance, which is, by the way, a capital offense under both the Hague and Geneva Conventions, death penalty by hanging or firing squad, resulted in the creation of what is termed an infant decedent estate, and because you purportedly died as an abandoned infant left on the doorstep of the hospital and presumed to be a British territorial United States citizen, of course, you died intestate, without a will. That allows the Attorney General to determine everything about your estate as an American and dispose of your land and home and everything else however he wishes. So the filthy vermin decided to reap the fruits of their fraud scheme by using our American assets as collateral to back their debts. They sell all our names as British territorial citizens to the Pope, who has them deposited as the same new deposits, American babies. Referenced by FDR in his presidential proclamation, and unlawfully conveys them, again, into municipal United States jurisdiction and deliberately misidentifies them a second time as municipal citizens responsible for paying all the debts of the municipal United States government. This is all the most venal kind of international crime and slave marketing and genocide on paper imaginable, and is all being practiced against us by people who are 1. Receiving their paychecks from our hands and 2. Under contractual obligation to protect our persons and 3. Sworn to defend us against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. Tell your friends in the legal department that I accept and acknowledge via this email, which I will record, that they are all acting as officers of the Queen, that they are all 100% commercially and personally liable for these practices and for any harm that comes to me and my non-existent infant decedent estate, which is in fact my own estate and nobody else's, including my mother's. You may also tell them, if you will, that this system of things is at an end. The crime and the underlying constructive fraud that has resulted in the existence of all these registered properties and being manipulated by the bar associations in the name of living Americans has at long last been tracked down to its source. And it has all been nothing but purposeful fraud resulting in odious debt being hypothecated, in theory, against my assets and being claimed against me in real life. They all have a choice now. They can either honor their actual duties owed to me and my decidedly non-decedent estate and get busy and correct the mistake regarding the registration of my name, Anna Maria Riesinger, which has not been corrected despite my mother's repudiation of her purported donation standing on the books of the Jackson County Registrar, and despite my properly witnessed instructions to the Clark County Registrar. And they may inform the Wisconsin Attorney General that is not his privilege or the Queen's to deprive or defraud any Wisconsinite in this manner, and they can shift their rumps to put a stop to these practices and to get this mess straightened out and my good name conveyed back into its proper and original jurisdiction and myself and my assets held harmless. Because, of course, neither my mother nor I, nor, most likely, you, have ever been given full disclosure about any of this phony baloney going on behind our backs, and because in the course of my life I created and adopted a pen name, Anna von Reitz, my situation is even more complicated. They have not only presumed upon my given name, they have done the same with my pen name, and with an infinity of permutations, orderings, styling, punctuation and other variations and so-called municipal derivatives thereof, including Anna Maria Riesinger, Anna M. Riesinger, Anna Riesinger, Anna von Reitz, Anna M. Reitz, Anna Vonreitz, Anna M. Riesinger von Reitz, and Anna von Reitz and von Reitz, Anna M., and Riesinger von Reitz, Anna Maria, and so on and so on and so on. This is all the fault of your pals in the legal department not doing their duty owed to Americans, including, most likely, you, and standing there like dumbshits, living in fear of losing bar cards. Would they rather be charged with conspiracy against the Constitution? Would they rather be hauled up in international court for violation of the Geneva and Hague Conventions? Would they rather have me charging their accounts, instead of the purportedly pre-paid tax accounts and Federal Reserve Bank accounts operating as CUSIP and AUTOTRIS accounts set up for me as special trust accounts, to quote King Rat FDR? Or would they like to clean this crap up for me, instead? I am a reasonable American person. I realize that we owe the governmental services corporations for services performed, however, I also realize how much those same governmental services corporations owe to me and to other Americans, and I am fully aware that their perpetual bankruptcies and their decision to operate in such a deplorable and criminal manner is not my responsibility. It's theirs. So, please, by all means, light a fire under the tails of the members of your legal department for me. It's about time somebody did so. If any of them are ex-service members, remind them of the oath they took and which I accept, to protect and defend the Constitution, which includes their obligations to American state citizens and the requirement to protect American babies against all enemies both foreign and domestic. Most sincerely, Anna Maria Riesinger et alia. Now before you click off. Help support this work by visiting www.annavonreitz.com and look for the donate button. Here is a simple tool for humanity to preempt colds, flu and relieve seasonal allergies. Use coupon code ANNAYouTube to get 10% off and 20% gets donated to help support Anna von Reitz. Watch the videos at wellnessrods.com for more information. Links to this article and more can be found in the video description box.